Hello, Steve White, Steve White 89. Well, James Mangold, Indiana Jones 5. Lots of drama. Now, it took me a while to form an opinion about this because unlike members of like Geeks and Gamers in the Fandom Menace, I don't have my talking points sort of sent to me. I'm not sort of directed what to react to or how to react. So I actually have to think for myself and just like come to an opinion. And at first, it didn't seem like much. I mean, I feel for any director working in Hollywood or any of the franchises, because even if they try and do a good job, they're still going to be shot down for anything and everything. And that's partly because the people who've done such a bad job with some of their other films, that there's really no way to win. But you don't feed the trolls, basically. You don't fight back. It really wasn't a good idea to James Mangold to take these people on and go down to their level and insult them and call them basement dwellers. I've been called a basement dweller. Now, I live on the third floor, like top floor of an apartment building by myself. I've lived by myself since I was 17, but yet I've been called like a basement dweller. Apparently, I live in the basement of my parents' house because I have an opinion on science fiction and genre. So apparently that means I'm a basement dwelling beard neck. As you can see, I have a neck, I have no beard, I live on the top floor of an apartment. It's just these bizarre stereotypes, and to jump to that on this person, and to assume about them when you're upset because they're assuming about your movie, it is stupid, it is hypocritical, it is. And the comments about, you know, I think he basically said, well, when you direct a film, you can talk. So the elitism, the I'm an artist, you're just an audience member, sort of those attitudes, it's not good, it's not a good look. But I really feel for the guy because he's being attacked, because that's the decision that the toxic Manbabies have decided this film. It's like Kathleen Kennedy's involved, Spielberg's not, you know, Disney's involved, so we have to attack it, we have to hate it, we have to look at it, work out, just spot any flaws and turn them into a story, into a drama, into a cohesive sort of narrative about how the film is bad and destroying our childhood and all of that. And yes, there are franchises and films that have done that, but this is all very much contrived, how they're responding to it, and you can see they're all saying the same thing, blah, blah, blah. But it just wasn't a good idea, James, to respond. And some of it's decent, like someone was saying, you know, action stars should be able to do, you know, action. And he's saying, well, what about all the other actors? Do you think, you know, the people from Fast and Furious actually drive? Do you think Marvel actors can actually fly? And he's making a good point, because we've seen Harrison Ford with spots on his face. So obviously they're de-aging him. So whether they're just having a couple of scenes in the past and they wanted to use him and de-age him rather than get a younger actor, or maybe the whole film is set in the past and they're de-aging him for the whole film, because people are saying we want another Indiana Jones film, but we don't want, you know, old Harrison Ford looking old and being sad, and like, because I don't necessarily know if that's ageism or just they don't want to see someone as they're declining. They want to see them in their prime, remember them how they were. And maybe this is the way they're doing it. They're saying, well, we can afford to de-age Harrison Ford for the whole film. Let's just do an Indiana Jones film set back with the Nazis. He's fighting the Nazis. The rumoured title was The Empire of Evil, and his apparent list is, we've seen pictures of Nazi train and Nazi sort of places. I can't remember what it was. It was some sort of setting that had all Nazi flags and stuff. So maybe that's what they're doing, because there's no way he's aged 40 years since the original films, and it's now 1960 or something, because I can't remember when the films were made. I'm not a big Indiana Jones fan. I saw them when I was a kid. I thought, wow, they were great. Then I watched them as an adult, because my a little bit older actually, as a teenager. My friend's father was a genre fan. He was interesting, but he had he taped everything off TV. So he had the Indiana Jones films, the Star Trek films. I lent them off him, and I did watch all 3 films, and they weren't as good as I remembered. Because I mean, they were, but I don't like sort of archaeology and running around jungles and dirt and deserts, and I don't like the Mad Max films because they're like dusty. I'm more of a city boy, science fiction in the future on nice clean ships, you know. I'm fine with the Antiseptic Enterprise from the original motion picture, like that is like my happy place. So I wasn't a huge Indiana Jones film. I did go see the 4th film in the cinema with a friend of mine and his brothers, who all grew up loving the films. They were very disappointed. I didn't really get why they were. I kind of liked it, and I guess because I didn't have a huge attachment or expectation to the other films, it didn't bother me. I kind of liked the sci-fi element, but the whole fridge thing, yeah, okay. But So I didn't quite get why people were that upset about it. And I do have them all on DVD, and I don't use the 4th film as a coaster like some people are saying. When you buy the DVD box set, you get 3 films and a complimentary coaster. That's just, you know. So I feel bad for the director of the new film, because there's a lot of politics, a lot of drama about would Kathleen Kennedy be involved, and because she's got a bad reputation with fans, with especially the Manbabies, and she does have a genuinely bad reputation with the fans because she has replaced directors and had to reshoot films, and she hasn't done a good job of managing the Star Wars films and that side of Disney. No matter how you look at it, you don't have to be a fan of Manbaby and, you know, Fandom Menace to I mean, they love tearing apart 'cause she's a woman, she's a female director, and they hate that, but she's just hasn't been the best either way. So there is some fair criticism there of her. So she's involved. Spielberg's not. It's the first one that won't be directed by him, and that was the first. Oh my God! What? This can't be good. I remember hearing that. I'm like, Spielberg's out. What's the point in doing it then? Is Lucas involved? Like, what is this? So I get the criticism. I get the anxiety. I get the people feel like it's just a cash grab. Disney's desperate to get money out of this property they paid for, so they want to make another film. And maybe their only choice was to pay Harrison Ford a shitload of money and de-age him, which is going to cost a fortune, and do another indie film sort of based in the era of the originals, more in tone with the originals, and maybe that would do better than the 4th one and be a better send-off than leaving it at the 4th one. But then they bring in a female writer who has a very bad reputation for working on a couple of films, which I now realise I should have written down, but you'll know who I'm talking about. I think I do, but I don't want to say the wrong name. I think that'd be worse than just not saying a name than to say the wrong person. But yeah, so there's some people saying, oh, it's going to be woke. She's going to like take Indy's fedora off and hand it to some woman, or hand her bullwhip to some woman, and she's going to like take over and be better than him or some. So they've started that narrative, and I don't think that's really got any grounding. Who knows, they might do that, but no one really knows much about the film now. So it's really difficult for people to criticise. The main criticism was he was basically saying, well, Spielberg's out, Kennedy's producing, Harrison Ford's 78, I don't have much hope for this film. And Mangold came on and he's like, basically, how dare you? You're ageist, you're an idiot, go back to your basement. And like I said, that's just not the way to treat fans. He could have said a million different things, as some people have pointed out. You know, he could have said, well, I understand why you think like that. You know, I hope to change your mind and surprise you. You know, there are diplomatic ways to deal with unruly fans, because it's not just the toxic man babies that are worried about this film. It's just regular fans, like I myself was worried about it. So yeah, I had to comment on it because I do feel bad for the director, because he's getting all this targeted, organised attacks on his film, and that's the narrative they're going to follow all the way through until it comes out. And if it's bad, they'll pile on, it'll be justified. If it's good, they'll find a way to explain themselves out of it, and and excuse themselves like they've done with other films. So I get it, but you just don't. If you're going to, I get you can't not confront because of Twitter and that. You have to be active. You have to, in order to promote the film, you have to be on Twitter, and you can't just ignore people. But you have to be diplomatic. You have to ignore the trolls. Don't get down on their level. Don't feed the trolls. Don't get down on the level of the haters. And just like I have a very small YouTube channel. I don't get a lot of comments, and sometimes I get bitchy back with people if they're just trolling me and being nasty. But number one, I'm not representing Disney. I'm just me. And number two, I try not to. I try and just be flippant or funny, or just address things specifically and coldly, and without really getting into like the emotional or side of it where it's kind of insulting and that. But it's difficult not to. I have one hater that I just don't respond to. I just say no food for you, no troll food for you, and I don't read his messages. I just just go past him. So you need to do that. You need to just ignore some people, address other people without taking the bait, but address like the concerns about taking the bait, because there's always bait in there somewhere. They're always like wrapping a real concern in like meat and throwing it to try and get you. But yeah, so I'm just surprised that a veteran Hollywood director who directed like Wolverine and Logan, which I personally hated. It was dark and grim and miserable and not the way I wanted to see the characters go out. And somehow this is the real world and gritty and realistic, and the way a lot of people love that film. And I'm like, you people have some dark, nasty ideas of life and how it should be, and it's not the world I live in. And I don't want to. I don't want to see them go out that way. I don't want to see indie go out that way. So I do have my concerns, but they're artistic concerns, not just Geeks and Gamers, Fandom, Menace, Manbaby, troll sort of narratives. So yeah, I'm definitely not one of them. I'm glad I'm not. But Mangold needs to calm down. He's going to get himself cancelled if he's not careful, and that's not going to help the film. Now that he gave them everything they needed to continue attacking the film, and they've all just done all these videos and all these live streams. He's just made them a whole bunch of money. He's just emboldened them, and it wasn't smart. So yeah. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. I can't believe I talked this long about it. Oh my god. Yeah, I do hope the film is good. I hope they're not just doing one little flashback with a de-aged Indy or something, and it's not just, you know, a money grab, and just, you know, I hope they send him off in a good way, because he is so loved by so many people, you know, for the 80s films. Now, I don't know. I'm going to go. Thanks, bye.